Kareem Ali TV, man. In about 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak. It's been about a week, and Iron Mike Tyson, probably my favorite surviving athlete, other than Magic Johnson, competed a few weeks ago against the great Roy Jones Jr. And I want to get my reaction of it. It was a good fight. I thought it was an exhibition. I don't feel like they were trying to knock each other out. I feel like even Lennox Lewis said that some of the combinations that Mike Tyson landed, he slowed up on, or Roy Jones would have been knocked out. But what I was impressed by was this: for one, 1.5 million pay-per-view buys, which is incredible for an exhibition. It's top 10 of all the fights, I think, of all time. $80 million generated. I think it did more than Canelo Golovkin. It probably did more than Earl Spence and Danny Garcia, which was also a very interesting clash. But what I was impressed by Tyson and Jones, is that Mike Tyson outskilled the great Roy Jones, which was amazing to me because he was using his head movement, making Roy Jones miss with jabs. Roy Jones is supposed to be the faster fighter, the more skilled fighter, but actually Mike Tyson is a fighter that has a greater level of technique than Roy Jones. Roy Jones largely in his prime relied on his athleticism. His defense was his legs, his reflexes, his ability to see things with his reflexes and counter people and be on the attack, on the offensive. Mike Tyson was a tremendous counter puncher, working behind what he was using in that fight, double and triple jabs to get inside, slipping punches, and then countering to the body because he couldn't find Roy Jones's head to hit. And I don't think he was really trying to hit Roy in the head most of the time. He clipped him once, and then he caught him with a angle of an uppercut. Roy Jones also employed the tactic to beat Mike Tyson, which most people do, which is basically just hold him to death on the inside, because you can't fight Mike Tyson on the inside. But the counter punches to the body and the accumulation of both overall shots and power shots went in favor of Mike Tyson. And the fact that they gave this fight a draw, I think, was just a setup and agreed upon. So two legends, no one had to lose face because it was an exhibition. You weren't really supposed to gamble on it. So the draw kind of allowed them to override those stipulations from the athletic commission. But I feel like Iron Mike Tyson, and everyone knows that Iron Mike Tyson won the fight. I would love to see him back in the ring again. Is it wrong that I'm still more entertained and more excited about seeing Mike Tyson fight than Earl Spence and Danny Garcia, two fighters who are in their prime. And I heard Floyd Mayweather Jr. is coming back for an exhibition. I think one of the reasons is because Floyd is he needs to continue to make money in order to live the lifestyle he's living. I'm not saying that he's broke, but he will be if he continues to spend, because Floyd just doesn't. I don't think he invests. He doesn't invest properly, and I think he's also a little jealous that Mike Tyson, his fight did so well, because if you had a pay-per-view king of all time, I think that it would have to be Iron Mike Tyson. I mean, Muhammad Ali didn't fight in the pay-per-view era. So I think if you put Floyd Mayweather, who took his pay-per-view king status from Oscar De La Hoya, and Manny Pacquiao gained his pay-per-view status also from De La Hoya, handing it off to him. But it was actually Iron Mike Tyson that, if he fought in this era, in his prime, Floyd Mayweather wouldn't even rank in top 10 pay-per-view sales for his fights every year. It would be Tyson, I think, that eats Floyd Mayweather alive. I'm going to move on just 1 second to the Earl Spence-Danny Garcia fight, which was actually a pretty good fight. I wanted to see what Earl Spence had after his car accident injury, and he fought well. I thought the key to that fight, and Danny Garcia, he could have been a little busy, but I thought it was Earl Spence was the reason that he wasn't busy. I thought that Earl Spence was able to use his jab from different ranges and different angles to offset everything that Danny Garcia wanted to do or planned to do or came in there attempting to do. So the next fight we all want to see is Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence. And my pick for that fight would have to be Terrence Crawford. I mean, he, like Mayweather in a sense, he's someone who's able to make adjustments based off of what you do in the